Hello, Eileen Turner. Oh, hello, Sandy. Hi, lovely to hear from you. Yes, yes. The importance of being, and it's a fabulous play, absolutely wonderful and classic. I thought you ran the auditions brilliantly yesterday. Yes, yes, yes. There are rather a lot of middle-aged ladies. Well, late middle-aged ladies, yes. Oh, certainly, we are blessed. No, no, it's a play with not an awful lot of parts for older women. Oh, yes. Oh, Miss Prism is a wonderful part. Such a silly little lady. Oh, it's a fantastic part. Yes, yes. Oh, no, marvellous. I'd love... Linda. Oh, no, no, not a surprise. I think she'd make a wonderful Miss Prism. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, yes, she's a very fine actress. Yes, yes. I think she'll do it fantastically. Oh, so you're going to cast Merriman the butler as a woman? Well, that's a brilliant idea. A way of using up us women of a certain age. Yes, small but vital part. Yes, yes. Vanda. Yes. Oh, a marvellous actress. Yes, yes. Pardon? Oh, yes, as you say. That just leaves Lady Bracknell. Yes, a fantastic role. One any actress would give her eye teeth for. Yes, iconic, absolutely iconic. A handbag. Oh, no, I know we don't want to be derivative. Certainly, we don't want little Edith Evans all over the place. No, an individual, a different interpretation. Yes, and Margaret. Oh, no, I think she'd be marvellous. Oh, no, I agree with the best will in the world. I couldn't possibly play Gwendolen or Cecily. Of course, you know me. Always a team player for Gweek players. I'll do anything you want. Prompt. Yes, of course. Oh, obviously, I'm a little bit disappointed. I'd have loved to work with you. No, where you win some, you lose some. Yes. Yeah, well, thank you very much for letting me know. Bye.
There's a quaint coastal hamlet in Cornwall, and noted for fresh air and fun. And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. A grand little lad was young Albert, all dressed in his best, quite a swell. He had a stick with an horse's head handle, the finest that mallets could sell. Well, on Lizard Peninsula 'twas raining, so the holiday crowds were quite small. There were no shipwrecks and nobody drowned. In fact, nothing to laugh at all. So, seeking for further amusement, at Seal Sanctuary in Gweek they did stop, where they'd sea lions, penguins and otters, aye, and real ale, hot tea and cold pop. There was one great big sea lion called Rocky, snoozing and looking right cool, in a watery, somnolent posture, floating near the edge of the pool. Now Albert knew nought about sea lions, but knew lions were ferocious and wild. So to see Rocky lying so peaceful, well, it didn't seem right to the child. So straight away the brave little fella, not showing a morsel of fear, took his stick with his horse's head handle and poked it in Rocky's ear. 'Twas obvious that Rocky didn't like it, as performing a neat forward roll, he grabbed lad and pushed him right into the pool, and with an arf arf he swallowed him whole. Pa, who had seen the occurrence, and didn't know what to do next, said, "Mother, yon sea lion's at Albert." And Mother said, I am vexed." Then Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom, quite rightly, when all's said and done, complained to the sanctuary keeper that the sea lion had eaten their son. The keeper was quite nice about it and said, "Oh, what a nasty mishap. Are you sure it's your boy you swallowed?" Pa said, "Am I sure? Here's his cap." The manager had to be sent for. He came and he said, "What's to do?" Pa said, "Yon sea lion's at Albert, and him in his Sunday clothes too." Then Mother said, "Right's right, young fella. I think it's a shame and a sin for a sea lion to go and eat Albert. After all, we've just paid to come in." The manager wanted no trouble, and he took out his purse right away, saying, "How much to settle the matter?" And Pa said, "Well, what do you usually pay?" But Mother had turned a bit awkward when she thought of where Albert had gone. She said, "No, someone's got to be summoned." So that was decided upon. So they all went to Elston Police Station in front of the magistrate chap, and they told him what happened to Albert and proved it by showing his cap. The magistrate gave his opinion that no one was really to blame, and he said that he hoped the Ramsbottoms would have many more sons to their name. At that, Mother got proper blazing. "Well, thank you for nothing," said she. "What, waste all my life raising children to feed your bloody sea lions? Not me."
The sun was shining on the sea, shining with all his might. He did his very best to make the billows smooth and bright. This was odd because it was the middle of the night.
The moon was shining sulkily because she thought the sun had got no business to be there after the day was done. "It's very rude of him," she said, "to come and spoil the fun."
The sea was wet as wet could be. The sands were dry as dry. You could not see a cloud because no clouds were in the sky. No birds were flying overhead. There were no birds to fly.
The walrus and the carpenter were walking close at hand. They wept like anything to see such quantities of sand. "If this were only cleared away," they said, "it would be grand." If 7 maids with 7 mops swept it for half a year, do you suppose, the walrus said, that they would get it clear? "Oh, oysters, come and walk with us," the walrus did beseech. "A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk, along the briny beach. We cannot do with more than 4 to give a hand to eat."
The eldest oyster looked at him, but never a word he said. The eldest oyster winked his eye and shook his heavy head, meaning to say he did not choose to leave the oyster bed.
The 4 young oysters hurried up, all eager for the treat. Their coats were brushed, their faces washed, their shoes were clean and neat. And this was odd, because you know they hadn't any feet.
4 other oysters followed them, and yet another 4, and thick and fast they came at last, and more and more and more, all hopping through the frothy waves and scrambling to the shore.
The walrus and the carpenter walked on a mile or so, and then they rested on a rock conveniently low, and all the little oysters stood and waited in a row. "The time has come," the walrus said, "to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot, and whether pigs have wings."
But wait a bit, the oysters cried, before we have our chat, for some of us are out of breath and all of us are fat. "No hurry," said the carpenter. They thanked him much for that.
"A loaf of bread," the walrus said, "is what we chiefly need, pepper and vinegar besides. are very good indeed. Now, if you're ready, oysters dear, we can begin to feed.
But not on us, the oysters cried, turning a little blue. After such kindness, that would be a dismal thing to do.
The night is fine, the walrus said. Do you admire the view? It was so kind of you to come, and you are very nice.
The carpenter said nothing, but cut us another slice. I wish you were not quite so deaf. I've had to ask you twice.
It seems a shame, the walrus said, to play them such a trick after we've brought them out so far and made them trot so quick.
The carpenter said nothing, but the butter spread too thick.
I weep for you, the walrus said. I deeply sympathise. With sobs and tears, he sorted out those of the largest size, holding his pocket handkerchief beneath his streaming eyes. There you go.
Oh, oysters, said the carpenter, you've had a pleasant run. Shall we be trotting home again? Answer came there none. And this was scarcely odd, because they'd eaten every one.
Joyce the librarian, strict vegetarian, 40, and living with Mum. Wears sandals and glasses, attends evening classes, and wonders if romance will come. Though she's never been kissed, it's not something she's missed until some weeks before. When George, a Rotarian, a handsome Lotharian, walked through the library door. George was unmarried, and the torch that Joyce carried was burning a hole in her heart. She wanted to show him, but didn't yet know him, and didn't know where to start. So with growing abhorrence she read D.H. Lawrence to glean a few ideas, which she turned down flat. She couldn't do that, not in a million years. Joyce the librarian, strict vegetarian, was burning with animal lust. Alarming sensations, strange palpitations, a mix of delight and disgust. So she busied herself rearranging the shelf to try to control her dreams. Joyce the librarian, the disciplinarian, was falling apart at the seams. The very next day she kept out of the way when George returned his books. But with growing conviction as he wandered through fiction, she threw him some longing looks. And when George joined the queue, she knew what to do. She smiled and removed her specs, then looked in horror, for he'd come to borrow the further joy of sex. Perhaps because latterly she'd read Lady Chatterley, something went snap in her head. She gave herself gladly, wildly, madly that night to George in his bed. But then, just as she feared, George disappeared, some other librarian to woo. Now